Raymond, that's you.
No, this ain't Raymond.
I'm Raymond. You're watching RPadTV, and I'm happy right now because all three streaming services worked for once. They don't have that stupid Facebook problem. But I'm also happy because I'm here with Mac and Paul, and we're going to play a fun little Star Wars game today where we recast. I always have problems saying that. We recast 7 characters from Star Wars Revenge of the Sith using modern actors. This will be a fun game. We don't know who the other ones are picking, so this is going to be a surprise for you and for all of us. So before we get to that, though, I wanted to get some updates on what you guys are working on. Mac, let's start with you. Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out soon. Are there any cool Turtle Beach products that
it's not happening?
People should keep an eye on?
They're gonna cancel it at the last minute, man. Just kidding. No. Yeah, we're working on a bunch of stuff. We just kind of launched a handful of new gaming accessories, some for the original Nintendo Switch.
Right.
As well as the Nintendo Switch Lite and the OLED model that all kind of fall under the same thing. And then some for Xbox. But for Nintendo Switch 2, we're in a neat kind of place because somewhere last year we acquired PDP, and PDP had a broader assortment of accessories that were already kind of officially licensed with Nintendo as well as PlayStation. They brought a whole bunch more of that to the table that we didn't already have. We were really only at that point kind of officially working with Microsoft on stuff. So now we're working with all 3 of them. On the Nintendo Switch 2 side of things, we're throwing everything that we have that was Nintendo Switch at Nintendo for them to run through their compatibility testing. And once we can get verification on everything that they're compatible with Nintendo Switch 2, then we'll be in a much easier place to talk about it. But right now, everything's in testing. So we're not saying what's officially going to work with Nintendo Switch 2 yet or not.
Right. But I will imagine that most things will work because aside from adding the extra button to the new controller, I believe the frequencies and everything are the same.
It's strange too, because like you would think that even things like a wired headset with the wired jack would like be the same, just easy plug and play. And like there's certain things that have to be within a certain range, whether it's audio or power consumption or any of that stuff. So it's just making sure all of our stuff kind of meets Nintendo's guidelines and making little tweaks and adjustments along the way. But yeah, like, you got to anticipate like a company like Turtle Beach that's been making accessories, as many accessories for as long as we have, like we're not making a whole bunch of new Nintendo Switch compatible products in the hopes that they aren't also compatible with Nintendo Switch 2, right? Like, our fingers are crossed and we're hoping everything gets through.
Right.
But that's so then that's controllers, that's headsets, that's everything you can think of.
So if you want to check out what these products are, go to turtlebeach.com. They make some excellent controllers, headsets, keyboards, fight sticks, and a whole lot more. Now,
the new cool thing though for the Nintendo was the glow in the dark controllers.
Yes,
I think I sent each of you guys one, but they have like the Super Mario Star or Super Mario on them, and then like it sits out in light when you close. If it gets darker out, glows in the dark, and the design on the controller is a little bit different. So you kind of get almost like 2 controllers in one for that matter, right? Like it's kind of a neat little spin, and especially for like if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan, you like the characters and stuff like that.
Did you send these to us because we're old and we need to use the restroom late at night, and this will light our way?
Now, yeah, that's exactly
So Paul, let's hear what's going on paulsemel.com.
So I had a bunch of good video game stuff that I've done recently. I did a review of Onimusha 2, the remake, which was surprisingly good. Like I was all worried with like the fixed camera that it was going to be really frustrating, but for some reason that game worked really, really well. And then I also did a review of a game called Maniac, which, okay, if you've ever played Grand Theft Auto where you don't like actually do what you're supposed to do, but instead you just cause all kind of mayhem and then see how long you can escape from the cops.
Yes.
Yeah. So imagine playing the original Grand Theft Auto like that, but you start out as a drunken Santa.
Very nice.
And
by the way, Paul, based on your recommendation from our last chat, I repicked up Star Wars Outlaws. Speaking of open world kind of style game,
yeah.
And I jumped back in. I cannot put it down now. I've been playing that game pretty much every day if I have spare time, and it's fantastic. And I am playing it the same way, which is you're supposed to get like, factions to all like you, at least one of them, and they all hate me and want me dead everywhere I go.
Yeah. I could never get the factions to do.
So it's pretty fun though. I'm enjoying it. So I'm on like a big Star Wars kick lately.
Right. And you have that little, like, I forget what they call him, the little stitchy kind of dude helping you out.
Oh, the little like armadillo guy.
Nix, I think his name is.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can and it's weird because it's like, you can like dress him up and stuff.
Yeah. He's
great.
He's steal that.
He's very
beat that guy up for me. It's actually really fun though. I enjoy that game a lot.
Yeah.
Paul, do you dress him up in your love like Madonna?
No, that's not an option. Although he does have some very nice scarves and
new entry.
You can, yeah. So, and then next week I have an absolute metric ton of author interviews that I've got going on.
You've been doing a lot of reading lately. Like
when I'm
he always reads.
I know, but I keep seeing you read so much like good sci-fi that I feel like I just need to like pick one of something that you've read recently, and I'll probably like it. Yeah.
Well, then there's a couple good science fiction books next week, including a new one by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and then another one called Galaxy Grifter, which is kind of about like a Han Solo-esque lovable rogue. Except he's actually not that lovable. He's kind of a jerk. So,
but that's how they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, no, you're supposed to be somewhat
Solo
lovable and a rogue.
He was a jerk. He was a scoundrel.
Yeah. And
cool.
But he was also like had a heart of gold. This guy's more of a just a straight up thief. So
just a straight up scumbag.
It's
very nice.
So, all right.
So go to paulsemel.com to check out those stories. There are direct links to both Mac and Paul's websites and the Facebook and YouTube descriptions, not prescriptions, because I'm not a doctor.
Just for clarity, not my
website. Yes. No, it's your website in my head.
I own it.
So just to recap, I think it was the Prisoners of the Lost Universe where Mac and I went on a tangent and started recasting Big Trouble in Little China, like with the current actors. And I thought this might be a fun recurring feature. And since May has May the 4th and also the anniversary release of Revenge of the Sith, I thought it would be a fun game to play with Revenge of the Sith. So we're going to take this movie, recast it with current actors. And again, none of us know who the other ones are picking.
Yeah, so we haven't pre-gamed on this.
Well, I kind of wanted.
You got to go in fresh.
I was tossing around the idea of getting your picks so I could put up screens, but I think the surprise could be more fun. But we'll see how it goes.
I'm gonna play this game incorrectly, just FYI.
And we'll go clockwise, starting with Mac. But first, I wanted to check: are any of you using themes for your casting picks, or are you just picking actors? So no theme for Mac. Paul, what is your theme?
My theme is Marvel Star Wars Volume 3: The Sith's Revenge.
Okay.
And I'm not going to explain that, but when I start to talk about who I recast, then eventually it'll make sense.
So my theme actually makes sense when you hear it, because I'm going with a musical comedy theme, which is easy to understand.
I'm just going with people that are either currently in my mind's eye or people that I've seen in prior shows or movies that I think would make a good fit. And by the way, a good fit in my mind does not make it the right fit.
Cool. So let us start with our first pick, recasting C-3PO. Who do you pick, Mac?
This is going to be strange, and it's partly because I'm watching the special right now, but I'm going to go with Paul Rubens, even though he's passed on. If he was not, if he was still here,
dead.
yeah, but still, like, he would make a great C-3PO.
Yeah,
I think just the 1-bit liners, the constant kind of back and forth bickering with R2, like done by Paul Rubens and his, like, I'm not saying like as Pee Wee Herman in the gold suit, but I still think if you've seen Paul Rubens in other shows or in, you know, like the Buffy the Vampire Killer or anything like that, the characters he plays are always like perfect. So I feel like he'd do a good C-3PO and would keep me amused.
Loved him in Mystery Men. Thought he was great in
the he's the sneaky, he's the guy who farts, but what's his name?
I don't know. I want to call him like the flatulator, but
it's like the Gooch or something like that. It's like something.
I will look that up.
That is an interesting documentary on HBO. I watched that as well. It's really
weird, right? And like, I gotta be honest, like, say a tangent, but I know we're just started.
Spleen. He's the spleen.
The spleen.
Yes.
And he's got like the weirdly heavy lisp. He's like the spleen.
Yes.
It's. I had no, as much as a Pee Wee fan as I've always been, I had no idea that he is and was and started that character at the Groundlings.
Yeah.
Like like one of my buddies from college was in the Groundlings, so it was like I had no idea that's where it originated, and what a cool story.
So, Paul, who do you have as C-3PO in your Marvel zombie thing?
So I went a different direction than Paul Rubens. I'm going to go with Paul Bettany, who would obviously we know him from playing Vision and Jarvis in the Marvel movies.
That's a great pick.
I think he would be a very different C-3PO. He would not be kind of the goofy British butler, but like would be like a much more serious C-3PO.
Right. He wouldn't be as much of a bitch.
Yeah. Like another backup could be again, Alan Tudyk.
I mean, he could play everything. So good.
But that's too many him voicing a droids.
Yeah. But no, now that you mentioned Paul Bettany, I almost picture him kind of like almost how David Tennant plays Hu Yang in Ahsoka and also in the Clone Wars. So I see it like that's the kind of lane.
Yeah.
That's a very cool thing.
I mean, you kind of lose the bickering with R2-D2, but you know, I'm okay with that.
So for my pick, I am going with Zach Woods, who many people know as Jared from Silicon Valley. Since this is a musical theme, I don't know if many people know this, but Zach Woods is actually an accomplished trumpet player. He has several tracks on, all the streaming services like Apple Music. So while he's perhaps not, he's clearly the worst singer among my picks, but he can play a mean trumpet. And you got to balance it. Not everyone can sing. You need to have other musical talents as well. And Zach Woods is he's absolutely funny. He was in not the Groundlings, but the other improv troupe. I forget which one. I think he was Upright Citizens Brigade. I could be wrong. Someone check me on that. But he's tall and lanky, so he could be in that C-3PO mold and make R2 look even shorter. And as you know him from Silicon Valley, he's great at taking abuse, which is something that C-3PO gets plenty of. Moving on to round 6, Mace Windu. Who do you got, Mac?
All right. So if I'm looking to stay, and like if I wanted like an African-American actor, Bokeem Woodbine.
Okay.
Like he could do like a really cool, like serious and imposing character for Mace Windu. That's where I landed on that one.
And for people that are not familiar with him,
I always I've liked everything he's been in so far. And then what was the one space thing most recently?
He was in the Halo. Was he in Halo?
Yes, he was in the Halo TV show. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
And so he was like a cool role in that as well. So I always like everybody. He was in Spider-Man. I mean, he's been in a handful of things. Everybody thinks he's Dave Chappelle by looks a lot of the time, but different dude.
Yes.
But also, I think he'd do a good job with a cool purple lightsaber. Although I don't know if Sam Jackson will let that slip.
Paul, who do you have as Mace Windu?
I went again. I went a different direction. Simone Missick, who was in Luke Cage and The Defenders and Iron Fist. Misty Knight, I think was her character's name. She's just super cool and a super badass. And I could really see her kicking ass in that role. I mean, I could see her kicking ass in any role, but I think she'd be really, really good as Mace Windu because there's a certain level of gravitas that she has, and that's what Mace also had. And I was at one point I did sort of think of Angela Bassett, but I feel like Angela Bassett, I don't know. I feel like Angela Bassett wouldn't want to do it because I don't know. But Simone,
maybe
I thought
she's
of Simone.
a bit. I don't know if she has the physicality at her age now to pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, I think she could, but I think that she wouldn't want to because, like, I feel like she's in that. Like lately, she's been playing the president a bunch of times, and I feel like she feels like she may have graduated to like a more elder statesman kind of role. Like, she was the queen in the Black Panther movies, and she's got that sort of statesman thing going now. So I think like it's probably better. Like she'd be better as like Mon Mothma or something, or some other like sort of position of authority.
Yeah, I really do wish that in here we were also casting a Han Solo replacement because I feel like
I've been trying to figure out the movie.
I know, but we could add him. No, but like,
isn't there? I don't remember if it's that Revenge of the Sith or the one before it where like you can see a ship that looks like the Millennium Falcon sort of pulling into a garage.
So maybe
like it's really small.
Like a cutscene.
Well, he would have been a kid because
and he wouldn't have that spaceship at that point.
Yeah,
because he didn't get it till
he didn't get it till later. So.
Yeah,
right, but still.
So continuing with my musical comedy theme for Mace Windu, I am going with Terry Crews. He definitely has the physicality to play Mace Windu. We know he can do action. We also know he can sing. If you saw the movie Blended, he sings in that. White Chicks, he sings that
like in the Mace Windu musical that's in your head.
Yeah, no, my whole thing is musical. So he sings that song 1,000 Miles in White Chicks, but he's also done it on America's Got Talent. And I just think it's funny when he sings that song because that is such a white girl song, obviously. And that's Vanessa Carlton. I always want to say Michelle Branch sings it, but it is not. They're interchangeable in my head, which is kind of wrong. But yeah, I love Terry Crews. I think he's one of the most versatile actors in our time. He can do action. He can do comedy. He can be dramatic when need be. He can sing. He can dance. He can
make his man boobs dance.
There you go. I mean, I just think he's so incredibly talented. So Terry Crews is Mace Windu. Now, going in a different direction. Oh, by the way, Paul, I love the gender swap. I am not against race gender swaps at all.
You know what they say these days, which I mean, everybody says it. It's kind of a cliche, go woke or go broke. So,
Sure. Now we are moving into some voiced characters. Well, I guess C-3PO is kind of voiced, but still have a physical actor in that suit. But Yoda is mostly CGI in this movie. So this is all voice. Mac, who do you have for Yoda?
I could not figure this one out. Like I couldn't whose voice do I want to hear doing Yoda? And so instead I just went with a voice that I like hearing all the time, and I just said Ryan Reynolds.
So you have a wise ass Yoda. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. I like, it's also the same question as like, how do you recast Yoda? How do you recast Padme and Natalie Portman? Like you don't, right? But I got to come up with a solution.
Somebody will one day, someday, I'm sure. So how do you out of the Ryan Reynolds characters that he's played, just him as Ryan being himself?
Yeah, just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, having fun with the dialogue.
That's interesting. I'm trying to picture Ryan Reynolds doing that backwards speech thing that Yoda does.
Yeah.
Know. Like I'm picturing him in Deadpool and being like, "You, I skull fuck." No, I don't know. If that works. Paul, who do you have for Yoda?
Again, different direction, and I apologize because I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of his name. Hiroyuki Sanada.
That's actually right on.
That's so funny.
Oh, okay. He obviously people know him from Shogun and tons of other things, but he was also in Endgame, and again, like I see him in that role, maybe not doing the backwards thing, but maybe speaking in a completely different language, like whatever,
I have him cast as Obi-Wan.
Well, don't spoil it.
Just for the sake of jumping ahead and ruining shit.
Yeah.
I
mean,
Johan would have gone with Vern Troyer.
Hey, RIP doesn't matter. I mean, at this point, like if they're recently deceased, we can make it happen.
I interviewed Vern Troyer once, and you don't realize how short he is until you actually see him in person. And you're like, wow, you don't even come up to my knee.
I escorted Vern Troyer multiple times around the Activision booth at E3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, make room. Like, everybody clear a path. Like, because he's got his cart a lot of the time and all that stuff.
Right.
He's so small. It's like amazing.
Yeah, he was super nice and super cool, but like I was just like, wow, holy crap. I was like, do you want me to cut? And he's like, whatever you want. I'm like, okay.
So for my Yoda pick, I am going with the one and only Neil Patrick Harris. So we obviously know he can sing. He's been on several musicals. We also know that he's very funny, but at a turn, he could be dramatic. He could be serious. Can even get kind of sinister. So I kind of like that blend of it. I'm almost picturing Neil Patrick Harris playing himself on the White Castle movies and the Harold and movies. So that's the kind of attitude.
He's addicted to coke and like speed and
right. And he's faking being gay and he gets really, but he's like a real hetero horn dog.
Yeah.
So NPH as Yoda is my pick. Now, round 4 can get really interesting. Who do you have as Emperor Palpatine? There's so many ways you can go with it. This is one I was actually tempted to gender swap, but in the end, I didn't. Mac, who do you have as Palpatine?
I didn't have one. I've been trying to think, but because to me, I've been trying to figure out the face and the voice, right? Because that's really all you ever get, like the lower half of the face and like who's the
but not in this though, because he's not
no, that's true.
Deformed for half the movie.
Yeah, and then he gets barbecued. Right. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. I gotta look it up real quick.
From what movie?
Pete Buttigieg.
Pete. Damn, Paul, you got it.
Probably
I knew that too. You're thinking of
a little young for Palpatine.
Okay, I was gonna. Ian McShane was one on my list.
Oh, that's a cool.
Oh, yeah, that
because like if you again go to the vision of him in the dark hood and only seeing the lower half of his face, and somebody who can deliver that really gravelly, raspy, fucked up voice.
Great voice.
I feel like Ian McShane would be really good in that spot.
I love that pick. That's a really cool one. So people, probably younger viewers, probably know him best from the John Wick movies. I'm trying to think what else.
Hot Rod.
Deadwood. That's kind of old.
He's Deadwood, and he's the dad in Hot Rod.
I do.
Which I also just recently watched again because why not?
Yes. Paul, who is your Palpatine?
So again, going somewhere different, but I absolutely had to get this guy in the movie.
Well, we're all going different, so I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to cast like an older white guy, like the guy who was the head of the ISB in Andor. I think
that's what I was looking at as a Sheev backup, but I didn't want to borrow from the world.
Yeah, right. But he would be good. But no, keeping with my theme of all people who are already under contract with Marvel, Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh,
as Sheev Palpatine.
As Palpatine.
So how does he play it in your head?
as sort of like Julius from God, what's the name of that movie? Now that I'm trying to blank at it. Pulp Fiction, like very much like that kind of,
put your lightsabers in the bag, motherfuckers.
But the scene I'm thinking, instead of when he's shooting the electricity, he'd be like, no, he's like, no, motherfucker.
Yeah. But he can also be really, really likable, and Palpatine kind of was sort of, you were supposed to like him at first,
smooth talking,
even though you knew who he was. Like there was, they didn't really do a good job of I don't think they were trying to hide that.
No,
it wasn't like I'm your father. Oh my gosh, revelation!
Right. But he was charismatic enough to convince Jar Jar to give him unlimited power in the Senate.
Yeah,
brain dead Jar Jar.
Yeah.
I noticed Jar Jar's not on this recasting, by the way.
He's not in the movie much. He's in the first one, obviously, a lot. Second one, a little less. And
I think we're doing our due diligence here, removing him from the cast. So
yeah, or at least Ahmed Best got redeemed in The Acolyte. So my Palpatine, I'm going with a white guy that is not so old, but is also in the midst of a divorce. I'm going with Hugh Jackman. He definitely has the singing experience from, Les Mis, The Greatest Showman, The Boy from Oz.
I'd love to see him in an evil role.
Yes.
Like a truly evil role.
We know we can do sinister. We've seen him go dark in Wolverine, but like going even further.
Yeah, that's just having a moment, I think, versus being like a truly like evil piece of shit. Like
I think he could do it. I definitely think he could do it.
It would also be cool if he was Palpatine and Yoda was Ryan Reynolds. The two of them, that fight would have been way different.
That would have been fantastic. What's the movie that they're the Hitman's Bodyguard or whatever?
That's Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I'm talking about like if Palpatine was Hugh Jackman. Yoda was Ryan Reynolds.
Because you went with Ryan Reynolds for your Yoda.
Yeah. Sorry.
Now this one I had a hard time with for reasons that I will get into towards the end of the episode. But recasting Padme Amidala, played by the wonderful Natalie Portman.
I would recast her with Natalie Portman.
Now, it's kind of age difference is a bit tough, so.
I didn't. It's weird. Like my mind refuses to try and recast Natalie Portman. So,
right, because Padme's like probably in her 20s at this point, or whatever the space equivalent is. So she's in her prime childbearing years.
The girl who played I'm borrowing from the world, but like the girl who played, is it Clea?
Yes. From Andor, yes.
Everything about her, like she could pull off that role.
Elizabeth Dulo, I think, is in her name.
She could pull off Padme's role, and to be honest, seemingly in a much more believable manner versus the relationship dynamic that was between Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman, which seemed so forced.
Right, but partially they had some really shitty dialogue to work.
Yeah, and some really terrible scenes, like him riding a hippo and like somehow not crushing him to death.
See, I'm trying to figure out a way to make the I don't like sand scene. Like, who's talented enough to pull that off? And now I'm trying to picture Elizabeth Dulo saying, Anakin, hold me like you did by the lake in Naboo. And trying to make that sound nuts.
I'm assuming with our recasting, there's also going to be a script overhaul. So.
Yeah. Sorry, George, that wasn't your best stuff there.
We helped.
Yeah. Paul, who do you have for Padme?
So for me, my Padme came into line very quickly once I figured out who Anakin was going to be. And Anakin was actually one of the first people that I thought of, and we'll get to him in a few minutes. So I went with Spider-Man's Zendaya.
Oh, very cool.
Who is very, very good because one of the things that's great about Zendaya, besides the fact that she's very good actress, but she can also look very young and older. Like she can sort of like straddle that range, which probably would have made her a better Anakin. But but she also has that sort of regal quality about her, so she could play the sort of Queen Amidala stuff. And we all know she can dress like a motherfucker. So to be Sam Jackson.
And you can even make her a different species because she has that like long ET neck. So you can make her one of those ET people. Just a thought. So my initial pick for Padme, continuing in the musical theme, was Ariana Grande, who obviously she's had a great pop career and she's had a massive success with Wicked, but in the end, I decided to kick her out in favor of more Filipino talent. So I'm going with Olivia Rodrigo.
I thought you were going to suggest yourself.
Is Padme? No. But I could totally see Olivia Rodrigo rocking like Padme outfits.
Oh, yeah.
She has an incredible voice, and a lot of people only know her from her pop career, but she actually got started in acting before her pop career really blew up. So she can act as well. That is my pick. Now we're getting into the last two who are the most important characters in this whole thing. Let's start with Obi-Wan first. Mac, who do you have?
I'm going back to my earlier pick, which is Hiroyuki Sanada. I think as an supposedly supposed to be like the older master,
right?
Who could probably wield a lightsaber.
Oh, for
in
sure.
Ways that we're gonna we haven't seen since the Acolyte. Right? Like that's what I want with a new Obi-Wan. Somebody who's just gonna fuck shit up with a lightsaber.
Yeah, the choreography in the Acolyte was so good and very different from what we've seen.
And that plays into my next pick as well, but I'll go back because I think there's I have two picks for Anakin, but one is like, is this a comedy movie that I'm recasting? Then go one way, and if it's a different movie, then the other way. So,
how do you see Sanada playing that mentor role? Because that is something that is vital to that character. It's almost half brotherly, half fatherly, but still.
Yeah, it works in the dynamic of my two Anakin Skywalker picks very differently. But
let's save it for that then. Paul, who do you have as Obi-Wan?
Well, keeping with my Marvel theme, I went with Benedict Cumberbatch. We have not really seen him do. I mean, we've seen him do like hand stuff.
We've seen him fingering the air a lot.
Yeah, we haven't seen him really like hitting people with things, but I think he could pull it off, and he does have that sort of elder statesman kind of, especially because if you remember in that movie, in more so the previous movie, but in Sith as well, there are times when he has to chastise Anakin. And I think he's really good at that. And it also plays into who I am.
Good in Star Trek too, Anakin. As Khan and delivering that kind of like being able to kind of explain what's going on in a chastising way.
Yeah,
as he set the table for Kirk to see what was going on and sit down and figure it out.
But that was more sardonic in my head, which I loved him in that role. A lot of people did not for some reason.
I forgot what sardonic means. I have to go look that up now. In my mind, it's just full of sardines, but
that is not what it means.
I must. Okay.
So Obi-Wan was another pick where I changed in favor of a Filipino. Initially, I was going with Zac Efron. If you've looked at Zac Efron lately, like in Ricky Stenicki, he is older. The lines are starting to show. So he's in that, I think age-wise, is he in his 40s yet, or is he late 30s now? Not quite sure, but he's in the Obi-Wan age range at this point. But I did not go with him. Instead, I went with Darren Criss, who most people know from Glee. He is actually half Filipino. He is just under 40, so he is age appropriate. And of course, he can sing and he can act. He was in some serial killer movie fairly recently, which was a dark turn. for him. So some people might know him from that, but most people know him as the guy who can sing in Glee.
The guy who can sing.
That wore all the bow ties and dated that short munchkin kid who can sing. So Darren Criss is my Obi-Wan, and let us cap things off with Anakin Skywalker. And Mac, I'm looking forward to your choice, but also the explanation with Sonata.
Sure. So I think, like, again, if I was trying to cast this just to make myself laugh, my Anakin Skywalker A pick would have been John Cena.
Whoa.
I think that would just be a very funny dynamic, especially in the context of like having like Hiroyuki Sanada trying to like reprimand him for being like, an idiot. I think that's a fun scene.
So you're seeing like Peacemaker John Cena kind of
like, just, I don't know. Everything I've seen John Cena in has been great. Like, he's another one of those actors that almost, like, to me, because he's not an actor, like, it almost doesn't matter what movie he's in. Like, he makes them all entertaining.
I mean, in his first appearance in Fast and Furious, I thought he was bad because he was trying to be more serious and be more of a badass, which I don't think are his strengths. But as he became like goofier and more sarcastic in the next movie, then that's his wheelhouse. I think he's a fantastic comedic actor.
He's a fantastic comedic actor. The other one that I had, though, just as a backup, was Ke Huy Quan.
Interesting. So I don't know. Don't you think both these guys are a bit old for?
Yeah, but there's like it's Star Wars, man. They got like there's nothing we can't fix. Like a little, right? Like it's make them, they age them up, age them down, make them look younger, however you want. We get the kid from the Goonies when he was really little, and we get we get older him now. So
fair enough. I do like that dynamic though with Sonata and Cena. That's a strange buddy.
I would want to see
waiting
those
to
play out. I would love to see the outtakes of everybody kind of cracking and breaking, because I think it would be really fun. That would be a fun film to make with that cast. With my terrible casting choices.
No, I like them. Paul, who do you have as Anakin?
So this is actually the first person I thought of when you gave us this assignment. And it fits in with the other people, of course. Tom Holland. We know that he has chemistry with Zendaya.
Yes.
We know that he has that banter with Benedict Cumberbatch, because they had some fun stuff in Infinity War.
And the press tours were fantastic.
And he has that youngish look about him, but I've never seen him be really angry. We've seen him be really sad.
Right.
When Aunt May got killed.
And scared when he was dying.
But I think that he could pull it off. I think he could get
he showed some rage when he was fighting Norman Osborn towards the end of the movie.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. But that's a different okay. Yeah. All right. But
I mean, what you're talking about. Yeah, I think that could work.
Like him fighting Benedict Cumberbatch, on a lava planet.
Yeah.
It would be just super cool.
I'm surprised, Paul, that with your whole pull from the Marvel universe, you didn't come up with Tom Hiddleston somewhere in here as a potential pick. Because to me, like, that would be a Sheev Palpatine.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but there's also like so many Marvel people that it was like trying to narrow, like,
Speaking of which, have you ever heard or seen Tom Hiddleston do impressions of people?
Oh, he's so good.
It's amazing.
He's so good. My favorite is when he was on the Graham Norton show impersonating.
Yeah, that's
Graham
what
Norton. I thought, but his Graham Norton impersonation was fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty funny.
So with Paul's picks, I keep thinking of everyone as Sam Jackson now and saying all those lines.
I would love to see Sam Jackson as Mace Windu fighting Sam Jackson as Sheev Palpatine.
See, I want to see the final fight with Anakin and Obi-Wan with both Sam Jackson. Like, you were the chosen one, motherfucker. You were supposed to say this.
Just a motherfucker trade-off of epic legend.
that would be
they'd have to throw in that line, I am tired of these motherfucking Jedi on my motherfucking spaceship.
Or the younglings when he's killing them. Like,
oh yeah.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil motherfuckers.
You too, motherfucker, little motherfucker.
Yeah, so many things. Say sand again, motherfuckers. So much fun. Like we can have like Sam Jackson.
This is turning into like an NC-17 like Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
you're gonna.
I don't think any of our recasting, re-edited versions are gonna make the R cut.
Yeah. So, rounding out my musical comedy, I have as Anakin Skywalker, Timothy Chalamet, who is one of the hottest actors. He is age appropriate. He can definitely sing. I mean, people saw him sing in the Bob Dylan movie and Willy Wonka. And I think he's a very talented actor that before I used to think he was just a movie star, but I just think the kid's really talented.
Ooh, I'm going to go back to one more, round 4.
Yeah.
Sheev Palpatine, Jim Carrey.
Oh, that could be cool.
If you were doing a comedy, yeah.
Well, clearly
no. I was thinking like if like the way he played the cable guy, he can get dark. So.
Dark and evil, but still kind
of
sinister and funny. I don't know. Because like, you know, Sheev Palpatine's character in the movie was, I mean, good, but like not great. Like he did a good job.
So I'm gonna have adding a bonus round here. Talking about characters and also actors that didn't make the cut. The problem I had with Padme is that everyone I thought of was too old to play Padme at this point, but you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, they would have been perfect. So I was thinking like, oh, Anna Kendrick would be great. No, probably a little old now.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, also Amanda Seyfried, also has a wonderful voice, but also like I think she's in her 40s now or late 30s.
I would go old school and try and like make it with like Amanda Bynes or something strange.
Even I thought of Hermione at one point. What's her?
Oh, well, what's her name?
Yeah. Emma Watson.
Emma Watson. Yeah,
but she might be a little. I'm not sure. Ooh.
That's a good pick. I've always liked her and everything and when I say everything she did is basically all the Harry Potter movies and a couple others, Little Women, things like that.
Johan says, "I'd like to see the cast of Grown Ups as the Star Wars cast. That would be an interesting one. Who does Sandler? Is Sandler Palpatine?
Sandler basically remakes Star Wars with his friends.
Yes, and they're always fun. Mac, were there any actors that didn't make your cut but you thought of, or anyone you want?
What's the dude? Homelander, Anthony Starr.
Yes, Anthony.
I feel like he could be an interesting character. I just didn't know where to like. Was he an Obi-Wan? Like, where would he fit?
Well, we're so used to seeing him play evil that
but I feel like maybe a Palpatine, maybe an Obi-Wan. He was a character that I was like, I like him in the things that I've seen. Where would I also see him? And same thing, like, is there a Carl Urban spot in here somewhere?
Oh,
just going through other shows that I like.
So let's use everyone in The Boys and make them Star Wars.
I think those are pretty much it. Like, I got on this, like, if I was doing this and I just wanted to make myself laugh based on like just very like, you know, at a glance, very not matched up character pair ups, you know, like a John Cena and Hiroyuki Sanada. I think that dynamic would be funny, but
I like it.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I didn't have like a lot of backups.
So Paul, I know you had one actor you wanted to choose, but we did not choose that character. You wanted Count Dooku. You had ideas for Count Dooku.
Yeah, but I never thought of who could be Count Dooku.
Oh crap!
Because he's only in this movie for like 2 minutes.
He's only in it. Yeah, and you need somebody who's like an older, you know, kind of older, scarier kind of dude. Now the ones that I thought about were the voice of Vader. Keeping with my Marvel theme, I went with Josh Brolin. I thought he could do a good Vader, and he kind of sounds. I mean, he sounds more like Tom Holland than obviously, you know, the real Vader guy.
I think like casting Mel Brooks as Count Dooku would be hilarious because you need somebody old.
Yeah,
Right.
But
And there's
who
also
else is-
General Grievous would be another
Cool.
one. I think maybe I'd go Seth Green for that one because he could do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I also thought, and then this is an obscure one, and this is the goofiest I get, I think, is there's a scene when Anakin kills all the guys from the Trade Commission on Mustafar, and I thought for those guys you cast the 3 guys that were in the Ant-Man movies that helped him out.
Oh,
so David
Dalmatian.
Yeah. But you don't have them in those like costumes, like looking like aliens.
What's the
and then just and then they just all get killed in Mustafar.
Isn't Common one of them? Like
Ti. It was Ti and
Luis is hilarious, I think.
Yeah, and the guy whose name looks like Dalmatian.
Yes.
Yeah. He's again as the polka dot guy in the DC
Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Suicide Squad. That's one of my favorite characters ever. Like I think he did such a great job of that.
They're just being morose. And it's like we're all gonna die. But it totally fit with that character who's basically like he has super powered tumors, basically, that he has to expel or he will die.
But everything's powered by his hate for his mother.
Yes. That would have been great for Cyril if Cyril had.
Oh man. Yeah.
So, guys, how did you feel about the format? I liked it better without having screens because I like the surprises, like hearing Mac's pick of Sonata. I liked hearing that live as opposed to.
I think I like that for this style. I mean, if we were all hands-on quick enough to like pull shit up and make it work with images and slides and stuff, great. But I like the conversational surprise of it all.
Yeah. So I think
it would have been good if we could have put if I could pull up, if I had gone through and found images of these people and I could hit a button.
Yeah.
And
go, maybe we do better planning and execution on our part.
Right. And also if we'd incorporate, but then I would have thought then we have to get AI to do what does Sam Jackson look like as Palpatine, and I don't want to give those people any.
And I like that we didn't share with each other before we jumped on as well. I think that's the way to do this kind of thing because it's the surprise and shock factor of it all.
So, guys, I want to know what you thought about this episode, this format, also your choices for these 7 characters. And if there are any recastings you want us to do in the future, and you guys, you two, are there any recasting movies that you think we should handle in the future? I mean, they're remaking everything. It's kind of hard now.
We could recast.
They are, and at some point someone's gonna do a new version of Star Wars, which is
we could recast the Fantastic Four. Nobody's done that.
Well, my initial thought is let's recast Ghost, but oh wait, they did that. Damn it.
Yeah, but they didn't do a good job.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I don't know. They've done that twice now, so
I worked on the Ghostbusters video game. Way back when.
Some of those games were good. I remember a couple of them were pretty good.
Yeah, I love the Commodore 64 one. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. I remember I had gotten in really good because Dan Aykroyd is like the heart of all things Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And when we were working on the game, I got in really good with his publicity, his publicist. And we were set to go to Comic-Con. We were going to have a cover of one of the magazines. And we never met in person before, but she had set up this whole meet and greet, sit down dinner with me and Dan Aykroyd. And then Claire was the publicist working for me at the time. We were just going to go sit and have dinner with Dan Aykroyd and his publicist.
Oh, wow.
What's the big haunted hotel that's down in San Diego?
Right. Corona Del Mar, that one down there.
No, it's I know what's it called?
No, Coronado.
The Hotel Coronado. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then right when that was about to happen,
COVID hit.
Activision had bought Vivendi.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff went into like what's happening, and we had to call it off at the last minute. I didn't get to do it.
So we have two excellent movie recasting choices here. Curious to see what you guys think, which one you'd want to do first. I definitely want to do both of these, but Zach Morris picks Back to the Future.
Oh,
that could be all kinds of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy they haven't remade that yet, but they will eventually. I don't count the musical. And then Johan says The Lord of the Rings.
That'd be a good one too.
But also a lot of characters. So who do you?
Yeah, I was going to say that
in like a 10-hour long trilogy.
Right. What you were saying, Paul? Like how do you?
I was just going to say like Back to the Future doesn't seem like there's that many major characters.
Well, you have Marty, Doc, Biff.
That's it.
And
the dad.
Well, his parents in the past. So that's 5 right there.
George McFly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
take
your
damn hands off her. Crispin Glover.
Maybe you recast Huey Lewis. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be the music choices are so good for that period, but how do you do it now? That's an interesting one.
Well, they cover that in the Deadpool movies with the whole what's the music genre that he loves?
Oh, dubstep. Yeah. So we have Marty. I'm at the IMDb page now. We have Marty, Doc Brown, Lorraine Baines, who is the future Lorraine McFly, George McFly, Biff, Jennifer, his girlfriend in the present time, who falls asleep or something. Oh, the principal would be cool. Principal Strickland.
The Iranian terrorists. Have to recast the one dude.
Mine is Aziz Ansari. I'll just
I'll go as the unnamed driver of the van.
And you could do smaller characters, like who plays Marvin Berry? Like that'd be a cool one. And
who's he up on stage playing guitar with the band?
Goldie Wilson.
Exactly. What rock star does he call?
Yeah.
You know. Hey, Jimmy. You know that sound you've been looking for? Check it out. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like you have Bob White calling Jack White. I don't know.
I do feel like Lord of the Rings would be fun. Probably a little more fun because we have a lot more to work with.
Although almost too much because there's so many
like we'd have to go buy film.
And that's a good point. But I mean, you have 5 hobbits already, so that's already difficult there. Then you get into the human, or maybe this would have to be a multi-part thing where one episode is humans, one is elves, one is hobbits. I don't know.
Or you just stick to the Fellowship.
Casting different races of characters.
Yeah, we'll make it all.
I think if you left out, Sauron and Saruman and if you just went with the Fellowship themselves,
right?
That's 9. I mean, this time we did 7. So
I would want to recast Saruman though. That's so good. That's such an interesting role. And the elves are
I would cast David Dalmatian
as which one? As
Saruman? He uses his polka dot powers.
Or now I'm thinking of Paul's version where everyone is Sam Jackson in Lord of the
Rings. Somebody should just use AI to make a clip of that movie that we all want to see.
And everyone is Sam Jackson.
Show me a clip from Star Wars where everybody is Sam Jackson using the word motherfucker.
It's like, hey, AI, make every movie starring Sam Jackson in every role. That could make some movies better.
Yeah.
A lot of them, I think.
Sounds like
a Notebook.
Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. that could be fun.
Can we not recast that one?
Oh, being Sam Jackson. Exactly. Oh,
wow.
John Malkovich would be great in a lot of these roles too. And who else has a very weird, distinct voice? Christoph Waltz, Nick Cage is another one.
Yeah.
And I always want to call him
Nick Cage would make a good Obi-Wan.
Christ of Waltz is, I think, that was his Chiron in Between Two Ferns.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We didn't slip in as that Galifianakis, by the way, as a character. Maybe it's Padme. That'd be funny.
He had a great interview with Natalie Portman on Between Two Ferns.
All of those Between Two Ferns things, like I don't remember who introduced me to that. I was on it was somebody from Spark when that studio still existed. But my producer, one of the games I was working on, like we're on a flight somewhere, and he made me watch that, and then he also made me watch for the first time ever Robot Chicken, which I'd never seen.
Oh wow.
And like we were two adult men on a flight watching clips on his phone, giggling like little schoolgirls, like just disturbing the whole flight because we were cracking up because I'd never seen Robot Chicken before, and it was like they're talking about a show that's made for my sense of humor. I was dying, and then but yeah, it was a good trip. Thank you, Dean Martinetti, for that.
How long was it? An international flight? I hope for the people on board it was not.
No, it was a short San Francisco and back.
Okay, cool. So Johan and Zach Morris, thank you for both these ideas. I definitely want to do them in the future. And thank you all guys for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah, we did our.
I felt like that went so quick compared to the last one.
Yeah. Well, last one we went long.
We went long on the last one. What was that one?
We did Andor. The three of us did Andor.
That was the Andor. That's why.
And I think we went an hour 20 on that. And I even forgot some of my tickers got erased. So I didn't even get to make all the points.
Robot Chicken is so good.
But yes, we have a lot of interesting stuff planned for June, but none of it is confirmed yet. So not sure what to tell you now, but please keep checking back on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch for the next episode of RPadTV. Like, subscribe, check out ways to help the site in the Facebook and YouTube subscriptions. And thanks for hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun, and see you next time. Bye.